Hello, everybody. Oh, we lost. Oh, there, Sadie's back. Okay.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Huffman with Cleveland Cinemas and the Apollo Theater, Cedar Lee Capitol Theater. And I am very lucky today to have the writer-director, Emily Cohn. Say hi, Emily.
Hi, guys.
And two of the stars of the film Crushed, we have Isabelle and Sadie. And we are going to be joined by Abdul here in a moment as well. We're going to bring him on at some point, but right now we can only have 4 people on screen at any one time. So we're letting the ladies take center stage since, you know, this is a ladies' movie. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. Emily, to start with, as a young college student, whenever you started writing this, correct? You were like a senior at Oberlin, is that correct?
Yeah, it was my first semester of senior year.
Okay, and so you finished this your senior year, and then you shot it pretty much right after you graduated. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And what made you decide to? Was Oberlin the only choice to film this at? Did you feel like this was such an Oberlin story that it just had to be filmed on that campus, or did you look at other places to possibly shoot?
Yeah, we were always going to shoot at Oberlin. I was working for, if anyone knows, Ryan Brown and Jeff Pingree.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yep.
I worked for them as they were putting out The Foreigner's Home, if anyone saw that. So I was helping them with social media and festival submissions and some behind the scenes editing. So we filmed July into August, I think, that summer of 2017.
Okay.
And I was always going to do it there. And they were, you know, the school was very generous about giving me access, and yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the school, it was a lot of local, like, kind of iconic, you know, businesses like the coffee shop and the bowling alley. It was really kind of a lot of Oberlin greatest hits are in your film.
Yes, definitely. And like, even especially the real heroes were UPS. Yeah, the UPS store. They were, yeah. And my mom was like super close with everyone at Walmart.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. Because she was there, and she like cooked for all of us, you know, 3 meals a day. She did #feeding an army.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you need to do when you're shooting an independent movie. And I just realized I forgot to explain to all of our people that are here for the Q&A. If you have a question that you would like to ask, you'll see a little ask a question button down at the bottom of the screen there. Just click on that, type in your question, and we will field those questions to the appropriate person. And if you are noticing someone else has already asked a question that you were thinking of, there's a way to upvote those questions so that those will kind of go up to the top. So if there's a lot of questions, the ones that more people are interested in answering, those will get kind of prioritized. So if you have questions, ask them in the ask a question box, and use the side chat just as a sort of, like, you know, say hello to your friends, or a side discussion. If someone made an interesting point that you'd like to comment on, feel free to comment on it on that side. So we talked a little bit about you deciding to film it in Oberlin, but tell me a little bit about casting it, because Isabelle and Sadie, are you both New York based? Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm assuming you guys had never found yourself in Oberlin before. Is that correct?
No.
Nope.
No, I had not.
So Isabelle, why don't you tell me a little bit about the casting process for you, about how you came upon the project?
I was a little bit, I came on kind of last minute. I was actually, and it's so funny because I'd never thought about it till now. I was auditioning for a play at the Cincinnati Playhouse.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what it's called. I feel like Abdul would know because and I really wanted that. And the woman who was coaching me, Betsy Adam, is family friends with Emily, and all of the parts had already been cast, but she was like, I feel like you'd be good for this. Maybe there's a smaller part in there for you. And I, you know, was kind of preoccupied with wanting this other thing, and, you know, as life goes. And then I ended up connecting with Emily over email and just getting a really nice feeling for her.
Great.
And read the script and really fell in love with it. And I kind of then put a lot of actor enthusiasm and sort of bullied my way in.
And it worked. She did great.
Yeah.
And Sadie, did you have to bully your way in as well, or how did that work for you?
No, I kind of came upon the film by accident as well. A friend of mine was auditioning, and I went with her kind of as her reader buddy. And Emily and I connected more to the Izzy character actually, and Emily asked me to read for Fiona, and so I did, and then I was supposed to do another film that summer, and I ended up having to kind of pick between the two, and I'm so glad I chose Crushed. It just felt like more of a story that I wanted to tell.
Okay. And we do have someone asking a question specifically about the kind of chemistry between the cast, that you guys really did seem like had a great chemistry, a really great kind of sense of friendship, seemed very authentic. Did you guys have a lot of rehearsals and everything? Because obviously you guys probably didn't know each other at all beforehand. Emily, you want to talk a little bit about what you did to get your cast to kind of bond and make those relationships seem so authentic?
I think honestly, like, I don't feel like I put so much effort into like forcing them to get close. I think that was like, I was somewhat in my subconscious aware of like people's personalities when I was casting them, both for the cast and the crew, to try to like foster an environment that I thought people would get along in. So then we were all living there together, like the three leads were in a house together, and that I think fed to them bonding, which was just, it was so nice to see. It made my job easier. They're all very professional. And yeah, that was, I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, no, you did. Well, I think it's interesting you said, that they, living in the house together helped them bond, but that could have easily gone the other way. It could have turned into a terrible reality TV show where everybody, did not get along. So you rolled the dice and it worked out well. So good job.
I mean, there was that, I'm sure, like, because there was people like rotating. We had different personalities in different houses, and I was not aware of like anything.
Well, that's great.
So yeah.
So you guys were good castmates and good roommates for a little while then. That's good.
Yeah, definitely.
And Sadie, you said that what attracted you were kind of interested in the Isabelle character, or what Izzy's character was. That's going to confuse me when I say Izzy and Isabelle.
And it's purely coincidence too. Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask, that if it was just like adapted, or maybe someone kept messing up their line and just kept calling you Izzy on set. Like, the character is now called Izzy. So yeah. But as an actress, whenever you're kind of drawn to one role and then you find yourself having shifting gears maybe mentally to go into another one, what was that process like for you?
Well, I mean, when I read the script, I just connected more to the Izzy character, and actually the Fiona character. I was like, oh, like whoever plays that girl, like she's gonna be really cool and like funny, and like and so I definitely just like didn't expect that I would be what Emily was looking for. I definitely am more connected to Izzy's sort of awkwardness.
Gotcha.
Okay. But then once I got on set, it's sort of like when someone gives you permission to do your thing, like, and own a character, it's pretty easy to take it on. So once Emily was like, I have confidence in you, I was like, okay. And she gave me all the reins. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And Emily, this was your first feature film, but had you made any short films previously to this?
Yeah, I started making films when I was pretty young, if you want to call them films, but I was trying to do something that involved moving images. But I had made a number of short films, and I was a creative writing major at Oberlin, but I also did filmmaking, and I went to the Prague Film School. Okay. And I've had internships in movies and TV and jobs and stuff since I was like 15.
Okay. Yeah. Great. And then Isabelle, let me ask you just real quickly. Whenever you were, like you said, just kind of shifting gears from wanting to do this thing down in Cincinnati and then finding yourself in Oberlin, weirdly 2 Ohio projects. What was it about the character Isabelle was there any part of you that felt just like, oh yeah, I relate to a lot of this part of this character? Or did you find yourself having to really kind of stretch yourself as an actress to play that part? Because you do it very well, either way.
Oh, thank you. No, I mean, well, the audition scene was, or one of the audition scenes was the scene where she's like, all my friends think it's so easy and they're doing it so well. And how she's sort of comparing herself and her friends' relationships. And I think I just was like, oh, I know this feeling and I have never known how to name it. And it's so exciting when writers are able to articulate things that you have felt, but they find a way to get it out there. And I think that Emily and I have a very similar sensibility in that she loves kind of comedy, but also like just like sincerity and truthfulness, and like and girls that kind of like lead with their heart on their sleeves and are kind of like an awkward mess and they feel a lot. I think that me and Emily align in that really similarly. And so I just could see myself so clearly. And I think that, you know, to have writing, sorry, I have a cat that's trying to get my attention.
And I was just on the same thing. I have a cat that's trying to get my attention.
Oh, really?
That's beautiful of these
like,
deep
oh,
kind of Q&As.
And I have a snoring dog.
He's like climbing up on my back while I'm like answering.
I can honestly say I've never had a pet interrupt any of the Q&As we've done in one of the theaters, but now that we're doing them all from home, it's always an adventure. So, you know, I like it. Well, now, Emily, let me ask you, whenever you're writing the script, was there a character that you felt that you were putting more of yourself in? Is there a character that really just seems like it's you that's representing you, or are they all kind of based on other people and maybe not so much you, but just people that were familiar to you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely Izzy is like the most of me. I think there are pieces of me and all the characters, and there are also pieces of all the people that I knew throughout high school and college are little bits of them in different characters. No, I wouldn't say any one person is one person that I knew.
Gotcha. And was there, I mean, were there elements to this that were based specifically on like a real moment in your life, like whether you like, you know, whenever Izzy loses a friend's earrings that she borrowed that weren't just earrings, they actually had the spirit of her dead grandparents in them. That adds a whole other level of like losing some jewelry. But, you know, were things like that you were like, oh yeah, this totally happened to me and I'm going to put it in the movie? Or was it all just, you know, like, where did you come up with that idea specifically, I guess, since that one just sticks in my mind?
So there are two scenes that were like direct pulls from things that had happened. The idea of the crush party is a real thing that happened. I made it my own invention and like some of the rules and the set design and everything. The earrings, honestly, that whole story came about because this is something in my own writing, especially like, you know, I try to make movies that are maybe a little bit more popular, it's still an indie movie, but the thing that I'm always told is like, I need to increase the stakes and the tension. So like adding that extra element of the earrings and the importance was
right.
Yeah, that was.
It does certainly raise the stakes, because I can only imagine, you know, whenever you see what happens to that one earring, but she does, spoiler alert, she gets it back. So hopefully anyone watching has already seen it. Yeah. Well, Sadie, I'm gonna kick you off for a second to bring Abdul on real quick, and then stay tuned though, because we'll probably bring you back. Okay.
Great.
All right. Thanks. Hold on here. Just gonna invite Abdul to come on screen here.
Thank you all for tuning in, and hopefully you watched the movie and you found it funny.
Well, I heard from one of my friends that watched the movie that he said that he and his fiance were laughing out loud, so they enjoyed it.
Wow, a real lol.
An actual LOL. Actually, hi, Abdul.
What's up? Thanks for taking me off the bench, coach.
Before we talk,
I didn't know the 4-person rule. Otherwise, I would have.
I forgot about that, or else I would have said no. We can't possibly have no. This is totally fine to rotate people in. That's good. But whenever you say a real LOL, I do want to talk about that before we talk. I have a question for you, Abdul, but I want to use that as a segue into the really kind of interesting visual element that you as a director brought to the film, which was, you know, a way to cinematically express the kind of virtual world.
Ask that question.
What'd you say?
I think we had that in one of the questions.
Yeah. So what? Tell us a little bit about that. You know, how you decided to visually do that.
There are two parts to it, but the first is really just like wanting to make it feel like the way that we experience being on our phones. So we're constantly like, everything is like gamified almost. Like we as humans, like, how many steps am I taking today? My phone is telling me, and like, let's get this point over here and whatever. So that was the goal behind that, and also just like wanting to be able to use technology as much as we really do use it in real life, and not having it be boring for people to watch. Because
yeah. Well, that's one of the challenges. I mean, so many movies now, whenever someone's texting, you just see like the little text bar on the screen. So I think you did and it was an interesting choice as a director to have it be much more visual and just have the person kind of talking to the screen in this kind of artificial environment that you created for it. I thought that was a very good idea. Now, Abdul, we spent a lot of time talking about how, this is obviously a very female-centric story, and you've got a great female writer-director behind it, and a lot of female energy on the set. How was that for you as the guy on the set that had to be the kind of
There's a lot of guy energy on the set.
I know there was, but he's here, so I have to pick on him. So no. What was it like being the kind of, object of one of the male object of affections? There's obviously female objects of affection all throughout the film as well.
Yeah, it honestly didn't feel strange in any way, only because you said there's a lot of female energy on set, but in total, it was a lot of like loving energy on set. Like the feeling of collaboration and the feeling like, oh, if I have something, maybe in the script, like it's the words are coming out my mouth wrong or something along those lines. Everyone, I believe, truly in my heart felt comfortable enough to open up. So the energy was just warm. It was warmth everywhere. I know I only had I don't know, maybe 9 days on set, and it was kind of sprawled out through the summer. But every time I came back, I was excited to get back to set. Like I woke up that morning, took one of those like fresh breath, and then just like headed to set. It was great.
Well, that's great. And Isabelle and Abdul, you guys had a great scene. One of my favorite scenes in the movie is where Isabelle, who confesses that she's a virgin, almost gets to lose her virginity in a very interesting and complicated way. Whenever she gets invited.
That was like the second day of filming, and they had just met.
Oh, well.
That was my first day. I was like, hey.
That was their first day. All right.
They were like, they did great, because I was definitely like nervous. And then, Abdul like suggested the line where he's like, she like points to herself, and he's like, no, the chick behind you. And I was like,
yeah, that was a great little moment. So that was, So I was going to say, I loved that scene where, she's just so wonderfully awkward there, because who would not be awkward in that situation? The person that isn't awkward in that situation, I mean, God bless him for being that confident, but I don't know. That would be an intimidating
ability that Izzy just does not have.
Yeah. Well, well, does Isabelle have that? Do you think that if you were in that situation, you don't have to answer that question?
I'm an actor, so like lately I have to try a little bit harder, but
gotcha. All right, that's it. That's a good answer. That's a very good actorly answer. I like that.
Yeah.
And Abdul, what was we talked a little bit about the casting, how people found the project. What was it like for you? Because you're actually here in the Cleveland, Oberlin kind of area, correct?
Yeah. In the land, It was actually very interesting because I saw the audition posted on Northeast Ohio like performing arts list, and I like, for those of you that don't know, it's a list that has all these auditions and classes for the Northeast Ohio, and like I really never ever checked that thing because like I'm busy and
thank God you did.
So one day, I like opened it up, I saw this, and I was like, okay, I was like, first of all, I didn't pronounce the name right at all, and then we obviously had talked about what it was, and I sent it a self-tape, and at that time, thank God, Emily's such a kind and insightful person, because I can probably swear that this self-tape was probably the worst done self-tape. This is before I educated myself on things like that. And,
I like that. I like that Emily was saying, no, it wasn't even close, because I'm sure
I need to add an addendum after Abdul finishes.
All right.
Okay. And then she called me a couple days later, or she emailed me and said, hey, can we talk on the phone? And I was like, of course we can talk on the phone. So I went to her website. And first she sent me the lookbook, and I went to the website. I watched all her shorts. I went through the lookbook, and I got it right away. And that's one excellent thing, because there's so many factors that go into movies and plays, And the biggest thing, the biggest detriment to all those productions is if everybody's not on the same page. So having that lookbook and seeing what she's done before, I was like, oh, like this is very clear. I know exactly what's going on here. And then we talked on the phone. And I remember it was a nice warm day, and I was in the parking lot of Chase Bank, and we were just talking for a little bit.
Very nice.
And now I'm here.
And Emily, what is your addendum there to his story?
I was figuring out my computer the other day, trying to like, you can sort it by like whatever the biggest files are, and trying to delete those that I didn't need. And I saw like I had like all these other people who had auditioned for that part, and I was like, oh my, there's just like no contest.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have had like Abdul was like so. I hope. Yeah.
Did you actually rewatch some of those, or did you? Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And then also like what Abdul was saying too.
Sorry.
About the workbook and everything is like Abdul, Izzy, Sadie, everyone who we had on set. Like they're such strong artists in their own right. Like Abdul's a writer, Izzy's a writer. That just helps so much. Like
we have some excitement in the big city up there, I think. Yeah. It's a little quieter here in Cleveland. So
yeah, it's not very good. But yeah, it's just they were all so lovely to collaborate with.
Well, that's awesome. Well,
right back at you.
I love the cameos of the pets on all the dogs, so it's great. I love it. What's your cat's name?
See, okay, this is Little One, but that's the worst name, and my dog is Radish. So
okay,
Little One.
Well, it seems
kind of a non-name.
By forced perspective, it was a huge cat that was coming from the street. Okay, well, Abdul, thank you very much I'm going to bring Sadie back on real quick. Do you have anything else you want to add or say before we kick you off again and put you back on the bench? We might bring you back on. I don't know if something comes up. We'll see.
Yeah. Thank you for everyone here joining this Q&A, and thank you for watching. And just keep dreaming, keep investing in yourself, because this is the biggest example of what we see when you invest in yourself.
All right. Well, thanks, Abdul.
And he's a great team partner.
Because Abdul's graduating. And then what are your, I know everything changed, but like, what are your what's coming up for you?
Oh, for me? Well, my MFA program, the Case Western Reserve Cleveland Playhouse MFA acting program, super long name. We just graduated, and we set up a virtual showcase, and we sent that out nationwide last week. So this week and next week I have some meetings set up. So we'll see some very exciting things happening in the future.
Yeah. Well, I know that one thing we haven't really addressed is the big elephant in the room is the reason why we're doing this all virtually is because, of course, we're all under lockdown. So everyone's life is very different, and we're all trying to adjust to it. So I hope that you all be able to get back to projects and stuff as soon as possible. And I hope that we'll be able to show movies on the big screen again as soon as possible. So that's what we're all anxious for. So, all right. But thanks, Abdul. All right. Thanks.
Yep.
All right. Let me invite Sadie back up here real quick. And while I'm doing that, let me, I think there was another question in here. Let me ask that before.
My mom asked a question, but I think we can ignore that because it's not fair.
What was your mom's question? No, we don't want to ignore your mother.
It was like, well, how good was the catering?
No, were there any on-set crushes?
Oh, on-set crushes. That is a great question. No, I was going to ask that question. So that's a really good question. So go ahead and start answering that while I invite Sadie back up here. Were there, as far as you know, any on-set crushes?
Yes. This probably was maybe. I'm not gonna ruin it for anybody, but there was a lot of on-set crushes. And I'm with my boyfriend now, who I live with in quarantine, is Emily's brother, who I met on Crud.
There you go.
But there was maybe a few more romances besides that,
which I literally knew
won't name
nothing of.
Yeah.
Well, but that's so normal for anytime people are put together on a project like this, whether it's a film or a play or anything, that's just human nature. And it's just doubly so whenever you're working on something that is called crushed, I'm sure, and romance is intentionally in the air. So, Sadie's like, yeah. Well, the one thing that I wanted to ask about that stuck out in my mind is, of course, the subplot that involves the stolen white shoes, the white boots, and the fact that they're all sitting out on the lawn at the beginning, and they decide they're going to start an Instagram account just for those boots or the shoes. That's one of my favorite kind of weird things, because that's just so real. Like someone would, and then within a week, that Boots account would have like 100,000 followers. So I was going to ask you guys, what is the weirdest social media account that you follow? Emily, we'll start with you.
Wait, no, I don't even know. I'm like,
That's
my
just a good
mom
question.
is truly now I have to look. She's like the queen of, we'll be sitting here. She's like trying not to like laugh. And I'm like, what? And she's like, what did she, I want to ask her. She showed me something really weird the other week and I can't remember. She's like, it's like it was like a polar bear, like falling like 4,000 times.
Right. Well, Isabelle or Sadie, do you guys have a specific account that you follow that, that's just kind of on the odd side of life?
Oh, I have one.
I have an account. I follow an account that's. Oh,
if
sorry.
I had time. Oh no, I was just saying if I had like time to think about it, but off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. I feel like I follow like a lot of random weird accounts.
I just follow a bunch of people's pets,
Sorry,
like
yeah.
There's a lot of cats.
Yeah, a lot of
follow.
pets.
Yeah. And,
well, I was just gonna say, I mean, for a time, me and Sadie were definitely sending like slime videos to each other for like that, which I don't know what it is, like the ASMR of the glitter going into the slime. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that genre.
Yeah.
But sometimes I see it from the outside and I'm like, why do I like this? Why do hundreds of thousands of people like slime and glitter and a nicely manicured hand smushing it?
Okay.
So that's
I just realized.
That's a good one.
I just realized what mine is. But mine's disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
Even better.
Do you know what Dr. Pimple Popper is?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's so disgusting. It's
that's
disgusting.
a good one.
But I don't know. I don't even know why I watch it. It's like my mouth starts salivating. It's so horrible. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I watch them. I watch them.
My ex used to watch that, and I don't deal well with medical things, so that was not allowed to be anywhere near me whenever he was watching that. So yes. And Emily, did you find the one that you were trying to find?
Mine isn't that exciting.
Oh, all right. You can't top slime videos and Dr. Pimple Popper.
No,
oh well.
I can't.
All right. Well, that was just my random question. Let me see if we have any other questions.
I'm surprised we haven't done that before.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Thanks. Let me see. I think we've got all the questions that people have been asking there. So do you guys, since we were talking about the world is sort of, shut down for a lot of people, although creative people are finding all kinds of outlets as they've got all this extra time. And you mentioned that a lot of you are writers. So are you at least writing? What are you doing to kind of make the most use of your time creatively? Emily, if you want to start.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a little bit busier than ever, which has kind of been a blessing. I have been working on like the Crush release, and then I was writing as much as I could, and then I actually just started. Ryan Brown recommended me for an editing job for a company that's based in Cleveland, so I've been doing that. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. And Isabelle, are you working on anything right now?
I have gotten really good at taking naps, and
you just finished a full feature-length screenplay.
Yeah, it was lucky because I was working on a feature with a screenwriting teacher remotely through video chat anyways, and so I finished a first draft of that, and writing. I would say I feel like I'm like on a really weird artist retreat in my own house.
Yeah.
But I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
And Sadie, how about you? What are you doing to fill your creative void right now as you can't leave the house very much?
I've been taking this acting class that I take every spring. But it's been online. So that's been kind of a weird but really wonderful experience. I mean, it's been actually like pretty hard to be creative, if I'm being honest right now.
No, totally understandable. Yeah.
Yeah.
None of us
I
have ever
feel-
been prepared for this, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that's my answer.
All right. Well, I can't thank you guys enough for taking time to talk with us about your film. I'm very glad that we were able to show it. You guys did have a screening right at the Apollo. It debuted last spring at Tribeca, and then we did have a screening last May. Is that correct? At the
Like
Apollo?
literally this time last year, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because when I looked at the website, I actually had my dates messed up, and I was like, "Oh wait, did we have a show in May that was canceled?" Like I thought it was coming up like this May, not realizing it was one that already happened. You know, so there it goes. As we all know, the concept of time right now. Just
it's very confusing.
Yeah. So, so I was just happy that we were able to, bring the film virtually to Oberlin again, as well as all of our other Cleveland Cinemas patrons. And this has been great. So I just want to thank you guys for taking time to talk to us. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone else, one final call for any final questions before we wrap things up and let them all get back to their lives?
If you watched the movie and you liked it, keep telling people, especially to get the links through Cleveland Cinemas. And
yeah, absolutely. Yes, thank you. Yeah, if you enjoyed it, this virtual cinema program that the independent distributors have set up have really been a big help for independent theaters like Cleveland Cinemas. We operate the Cedar Lee, Capitol Theater, Apollo Theater, a bunch of theaters here in Cleveland. So it's been a great way to still show that we're committed to bringing great and interesting independent films to an audience that otherwise wouldn't have a chance to see them. So I think it's worked out really well, and I'm thrilled that we were able to show your film as part of that, Emily. So
thank you. Yeah, thank you.
All right, it was very nice to meet all you guys. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, have a good day. All right, thanks guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.